I was in service. So every Saturday without fail in the morning we used to come, see in one of these movie halls of say New Empire or Lighthouse or Metro, and within 15 minutes we used to come out of the hall and go to the bar. And again after recess we used to go back to the same routine, and the evening we used to have dinner in Anarkali, what is that, Chorangi, Amber, and the wee hours in the morning we used to land up in Kharagpur. And we are colleagues from Fauj. They are mighty happy to see a organization like this and things were not very costly and we could afford a chilled beer. So I want to go down memory lane after this to find out whether this chilled beer is still available in one of those. I believe they have all gone out, but I would like to check the cuisines also. With this, what I do is a lot of things have been covered, so I will go very fast on those, and in case you want me to dwell on that, please raise your hands, I will do that. These things have been talked to over the complete day, how things are getting faster, cheaper and better. So I'll just, these are from McKinsey's report, very recent reports. This is how it is changing. And future. This has been told number of times. I will skip these statistics about how digital India is progressing, how the connectivity is improving day by day. This is January 2015 report. Annual growth year on year. And time spent with the media. In the last 1 hour 15 minutes I was told, if you want to have discord in your family, please see Jalsa, start Jalsa. But this 1 hour 15 minutes will not do that, you will have to see more. Total number of internet users and all. In some form or the other it has already been shown to you, so I will skip those. This again. Last year McKinsey gives this report that 12 technologies which empowers India in the next decade, and if you see those technologies, everything is collected with digital, some in a very 100%, some in a little lesser, but that is why the security part comes after this. Bhattapal is a very old colleague of mine. I will dwell on this a little bit. Cyber threat spectra, if you go up the chain, you will find this last but one, nation state cyber attacks. You know what happened in Stuxnet, you must be aware that the Iranian nuclear facilities were targeted and successfully they were neutralized by a virus or Stuxnet, which was, almost everybody knows that it was done by USA and the Israelis, but you can't make that statement, but everybody knows that. That is the thing which happened. And next is nation state cyber enabled kinetic attack. In 2008, Russia invaded Georgia. When they invaded Georgia with tanks and all, there is a large scale cyber attack took place. So things are changing very fast. It happened in Estonia also, but Estonia's only cyber attack took place. And in Israel-Gaza conflict, there is a beast called social media which was thickly involved. Israelis announced the starting of war in Twitter, and there are other things that are happening. So things are changing very fast, and we have to have a look at this very important aspect. Cyber security threats have already been talked about. On the left side, bot networks, criminal groups, hackers, insiders, nations, terrorists. They have already been talked about. I will not dwell upon this. This is the CERT report, CERT India report of 2014. what is happening in our country, that what they have addressed phishing and network scanning and malicious whatever with website divestment, this 2014, this is the kind of activities that they have undertaken. There are many more. They are only at this much. And this is the type of things which has come out. 66% is spam. And now there is a beast called non-state actors in the field, which is very difficult to handle nowadays. I will only emphasize on two issues: Anonymous and ISIS. You know, Anonymous is an organization which attacks anybody who is against your freedom in the cyberspace or the internet. They have attacked North Korea. They have attacked Israelis. God forbid something happens, they can attack us also. We have to be very careful about this, because there is a non-state actors. They don't belong to any country or belong to any particular place. So they come in the internet together and do this and go back. Next thing what happened is ISIS. There is a magazine, monthly magazine called Dubik. Invariably every month they come out with this magazine. I am not showing that magazine. It is a beautifully crafted, excellently produced magazine. What is inside is horrendous. Like this month's June magazine, they said that they will make Michelle Obama as a sex slave. That is the kind of magazine is there, but it is there, and they are using it to their advantage. They are propagating their whatever theory they have got, and that is and nobody knows how to control this kind of people. Now the other side. Video.
The key leaders in the war on terror are now in the business of cyber war. Michael Chertoff once ran the Department of Homeland Security. He now runs a cybersecurity consulting firm.
You could have a cyber attack that would be as consequential in terms of the economy, maybe even in terms of loss of life, as things we typically associate with war fighting.
Once America's top spy chief, Mike McConnell now oversees cyber operations for a defense contracting giant.
We're the most vulnerable nation on Earth to a cyber attack.
And anti-terrorism czar Richard Clarke went from advising presidents on cybersecurity to publishing books about the coming cyber war.
For once, it would be nice for the United States to be able to get out in front of a catastrophe, to be able to prevent that catastrophe. We know how to do it. We just need to spend the money.
And the money is flowing. The U.S. government will spend more than $10 billion a year on cybersecurity by 2015, in a worldwide market that's estimated at $80 to $140 billion a year.
The budget that we're releasing today.
It's one of the few areas where the White House plans to increase spending despite other defense cuts. Yet some of the key leaders in the war on terror are now in the business of cyber war. Michael Chertoff once ran the Department of Homeland Security. He now runs a cybersecurity consulting firm.
You could have a cyber attack that would be as consequential in terms of the economy, maybe even in terms of loss of life, as things we typically associate with war fighting.
Once America's top spy chief, Mike McConnell now oversees cyber operations for a defense contracting giant.
We're the most vulnerable nation on Earth to a cyber attack.
And anti-terrorism czar Richard Clarke went from advising presidents on cybersecurity to publishing books about the coming cyber war.
For once, it would be nice for the United States to be able to get out in front of a catastrophe, to be able to prevent that catastrophe. We know how to do it. We just need to spend the money.
And the money is flowing. The U.S. government will spend more than $10 billion a year on cybersecurity by 2015, in a worldwide market that's estimated at $80 to $140 billion a year.
The budget that we're releasing today.
It's one of the few areas where the White House plans to increase spending despite other defense cuts. Yet some of the key leaders in the war on terror.
Close it. You know, in the afternoon, delivering a talk is always a difficult proposition when such a beautiful lunch is served. So I thought I'll show one or two videos to wake some of you up who have gone to sleep. sleep. In army, when we do a plan, we always see what the other side has to do, and based on his intention and his disposition, all we make our own plan. So there is a famous gentleman called Captain Liddell who taught generals and whose thinking was never heard by the Britishers but taken up by the Germans. There is a thing called the other side of the hill. So when one side we are talking about cyber security is everything, let's see some of the experts talking. Next slide, next video.
Russia, USA,
No, not this one.
and France,
Not this
and
one,
Israel.
not this one. Other one. Second one. Yeah. Yes.
Like Jim Harper warned that it never will.
There's no chance whatsoever that nuclear power plants will be hacked, that electric infrastructure will be hacked and taken down for any significant period of time. So the worst we can expect is disruption. That's not war. It doesn't really terrorize. So the threats are serious, but they're not to the level of war. Most people don't understand the problems with computer and data security. Most people in Washington don't understand, and specifically most people in Congress don't understand. Therefore, the quote-unquote Beltway bandits are in a position to create the problem, to state the problem, and offer their own.
If something happens, it can be a conventional act of violence. Whether we call it an act of war, whether I call it an act of war doesn't really matter. I'm just an academic. What matters is if prime ministers and presidents call it an act of war. And whether they do so or not is an eminently political decision. Think of the aftermath in Boston, of the Boston terrorist attacks.
But how does this fit with the crippling cyber attack on Estonia in 2007?
A country like Estonia certainly wasn't brought to its knees by a denial of service attack. If it actually would have been brought to its knees, then the president of Estonia wouldn't have written in the New York Times that it actually was a blessing in retrospect, because Estonia learned some interesting lessons from it, and it certainly did.
So what is the difference between a cyber attack and a conventional attack?
In the context of computer attacks, offensive capabilities don't necessarily translate into defensive capabilities. So being better at using offensive capabilities doesn't make you better on the defensive. So that's a sharp contrast to many conventional weapon systems.
So when would a cyber attack actually cross the threshold and become an act of war?
We've never seen an act of a computer attack that was violent first and was political, in the sense that somebody said, I did this to you, and that was instrumental in the sense that somebody said, I did this to you to change your behavior. Because usually people don't take credit. States don't take credit for cyber attacks. I think we have an empirical record to talk about. It's mostly espionage, computer crime, a little bit of sabotage, and of course activism and subversion. We don't.
Now this Snowden and the Manning episode, a lot of good things have come out. You know, there is a thing called PRISM, and these are some of the PowerPoint presentations which have been given to NSA and GCHQ and all. They're all top secret, but it is now in the open domain. See what they have been doing. Just have a look. Everybody is there. Microsoft, Google, Yahoo, Facebook, Paltalk, YouTube, Skype, AOL, Apple, everybody is there. Nobody is left. This is what they do. They have been paid for this. Who joined the NSA's bandwagon and how much being paid for them? And it is continuing now. A lot of things we have been talking much earlier. Nobody used to believe us that the people used to, interfere with the submarine cables through which the internet traffic flows and all. But today it is in the open. Nobody can deny it. It is their own presentation. So, and it is continuing. 2 days back, the recently declassified documents from Snowden, it shows that the NSA and GCHQ have been targeting the antivirus companies. This is the best thing to do, because they are in your computers, these antivirus companies, and through that they are inside you. That is the easiest thing to do. And these are the targets which are non-US companies. You'll be happy to know that there is one Indian company features in there, AK7 Computing. So when yesterday I gave an email to them that you are in August company. I'm yet to get a reply from them. Now, when you are in the city of joy, I must give some red herring. We are very fond of talking that Huawei, ZDNet, these are Chinese companies, they should not be in our infrastructure because they can send things out and all. What about Cisco? Who has told you that Cisco doesn't do all these things? 2 days back again, Kaspersky has came out with a stirring disclosure that USA has been infecting all the switching equipments and other equipments through hardware. Now, when Kaspersky is saying this, is not a US company, it's a Russian company. So the US is now saying that yes, they are in league with FSB and others. It never have been proved. We are the 5th most spied nation in the world by USA. USA doesn't leave anybody. They have heard what the Chancellor of Germany says. They are hearing what the President of France says. What more do you want? They are nobody's friend. So why so? What is the big problem? There is a problem of attribution. OPM, this 4 lakhs data of 4 lakh employees have gone out. Yesterday, the NSA chief has come out and said we cannot say this has done by Chinese. You can't attribute it to Chinese. Nobody knows. It's very difficult. Very quickly they attributed it to Korea when Sony happened. But then Korea is not that so cyber savvy country like others. If you see the website of Intercept is given on top, you will find every other day things coming out there. You know, there is a company called InQtel. It is the venture capital thing of CIA. The Google Earth came out of InQtel, and they still do a lot of things on behalf of CIA. So all these things, and Microsoft always had a back channel open with these things, and you are aware that what used to happen in all these things which the NSA has been doing. So we'll leave it at that. Some of the important issues. You know, human resource management is a big issue. The Manning, the Snowden, they are all insider. They go out and this is a big problem, and cyber security. Small little things, okay. I'll cover this. Critical infrastructure, no. You know, the US cyber strategy over a period of time has evolved. We are not very far off. We have also got our strategy, our national cyber security policy came out 2 years back. It is a beautifully crafted document, but problem with this is there are a large number of agencies who do it, but you will see this, it's a bureaucratic in outlook. Everybody is a Chaudhary. Who does this executive job? Not known. You must have a look at Data Security Council of India's website. You know, there was a working group which dwelled upon how these, since it is a business chamber of commerce, so how do the people from industry should be taken on board. So have a look at that. It is available in Data Security Council of India. This was done by National Security Council of India, nothing less than NSC, and these are the type of things which came. It's straight away from that particular website. The key issue, I just took 2 minutes there. In our country, who is overall responsible for any catastrophe that happens? Is it MOD? It is NSC? Is it MHA? Who is this? I don't know. Who is responsible for .com, .in, .org? NIC takes of .in, but who is responsible for others? Role of regulatory body. You know, things are working. RBI is a regulatory body for the financial services. So they have got an organization there in Hyderabad which looks after the financial part. So that's why you, without any problem, you can take out money and do all the financial things are going well. Because there is somebody who is doing work. I believe there is a regulatory body for the electric power distribution also. But for other critical infrastructure, there is no regulatory body. Nobody is thinking on these lines. Who is responsible for, say, your railways or your other critical infrastructures? Incidents reporting, are you compelled to do? Say, I'll give you an example. Say, I'm Infosys. I've been targeted by somebody to do something. Can I go on offensive? I've been able to. What is the rule position? And any of the big companies, they are very chary in reporting these incidents because it depends upon, it impinges on their reputation. Rules of business as far as the government sector is concerned has to change. We have seen both the sides now. The way we do business, especially in cyber security, this is not the way to do. We can discuss later. Role of industry and academia is a very big thing. You have to incorporate industry and academia and take it forward. You know, there are massive databases being generated, Jan Dhan Yojana and Aadhaar and all. Who is responsible for their security? I have asked this question in many places. Nobody has given me an answer. Your Stuxnet, Duku, Flame, Regin. We have got no capability to understand this kind of thing is there. If Symantec or somebody else does it, they will tell you, but do you have a capability to know that these people are already there? We do not have. So that is why whether you like it or not, you have to be indigenous and you have to scale up your R&D efforts. Protection of data of industry, DRDO, OFB, DPSU, goes without saying. I will be slightly acidic in this, the contribution of industry to cyber security. Industry always shouting, but what is their contribution? You have got $100 billion industry. What is their contribution on cyber security? What is the ISPs doing? The other day a report came that Airtel is not doing something funny. So who is responsible? Can they be made to their CSR responsible also can do for at least for the awareness of this kind of thing. They have not done anything, not to my knowledge. And last is that we have got big qualities in big data analytics and other things. It has to be used for our intelligence purposes. The big data is not being used. They are in a very small manner, but not very used. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Malik. Can I have Harish, please?
I'll be brief. But General Malik, I was listening to you, and I'm a I've recently moved back to Calcutta. I grew up in Calcutta, and I've recently moved back. And I used to also frequent some of the restaurants you mentioned and the cinema halls. And one thing which I remember in the cinema halls, which probably came a little later, is you could go get a fountain soda, and then they would mix something which was not soda in it, and you could take it and watch a movie with it. And that was a pleasure of watching movies in Calcutta. I'm afraid some of those places you mentioned, all the cinema halls are all gone now. So in the multiplexes, that pleasure is not there. But I think that memory will live with us forever. I'm afraid I'm not going to talk about some of the areas that my previous speakers spoke about. I think we've looked at it from a corporate angle. What companies are doing to manage cyber crime, cyber security, and I think they've got a lot of budget. They understand how to get it, and they've got the organization behind it. Let's take a look at it from a consumer's point of view. Because if you're going to digitalize the country, if you're going to have an economy which is a digital economy, which means, the government has already spoken about, for example, smart cities. Yesterday the government came out with a talk about smart cities. And increasingly we as consumers will be provided with a lot of services which would be digital in nature, which would be controlled by the government and also service providers. And let's have a look as to what will happen to us in a few years' time. Some of these services are already available in a few of the more developed countries, not so much in India yet. Let's have a look, and then we'll have a small chat. Can I have the lights off, please? Volume.
The internet and its applications, even when they're aware that their privacy and security is totally out of control. Let's see what a day looks like. As you can see, a lot of information is directly available, Your virtual assistant has already started arranging the upcoming birthday party. Numerous brands know this and start showing their product offerings in an intrusive way. Your health is constantly monitored, which leads to advice about nutrition. Not only your own health is monitored, but also that of your family. When a family member is ill, your virtual assistant provides you with a list of doctors, including medical professionals from all over the world, offering their services. Without remorse, advertisers promote all kinds of medical products. Real-time medical information is shared. You need to decide yourself, but to distinguish trustworthy objective medical advice from ordinary pharmaceutical ads is a tough job. Your refrigerator shows you which of your favorite products need replenishment and orders them directly. The manufacturer presets store preferences in the system of your refrigerator. You can only order from those stores that have links with the manufacturer of your refrigerator, limiting your choice of products and stores. Even when you set your preferred store in the system, other stores try to persuade you to buy from them. In case you cannot go into the office, your virtual assistant rearranges your agenda. Office meetings are turned into online meetings. As bandwidths and scarce frequencies are not used efficiently, congestion often occurs, making online meetings less reliable. The birthday planner of your virtual assistant checks the availability of your friends and family real-time to set the date and time for the party. The same brands that pushed their products earlier continue to attract your attention. The uncle who has just received the invitation contacts you from his office. He wants to share his ideas about birthday presents with you. Together, you shop virtually for the ideal present for him to give. All sorts of products are pushed aggressively, even those that are not appropriate for a young boy. Later that day, when he goes home, his car contacts his house to announce his arrival. Utility companies use customer information to optimize their operations, but do not share these benefits with their customers. When the car approaches his home, the lights in the house are automatically switched on. Meanwhile, it is bedtime for the little one. You open the virtual bookshelf on which publishers all try to stand out, making it difficult for him to find his favorite bedtime story. Candy manufacturers know immediately that you're reading a bedtime story and put their commercials directly onto the images related to the story. So now you know what a